Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Terry, Cass Terry. Hi, this is Cass Terry, Dr. Terry. I'm here with Chapter 3 of my blogging on unhappy doctors, and this is Chapter 3 that I'm going to narrate called Disenchanted Doctors. And let's just jump right into it. So here we have the Physicians Foundation. They did a survey. I think they do it every 2 years. It's called the Foundation Biennial Survey. So they did it in 2012. A lot of doctors, about little less than 14,000 were surveyed. And it's a long, it's like 47 pages long, but I'm going to condense it here and distill it into a very short amount of space, as you can see. So some of the key findings of the survey, there were many findings, but I'm just going to get the ones I think are important. They found that over 3/4, over 75%, I think it's about 78% actually, are somewhat to very pessimistic about the future of the medical profession. That's a lot of, that's 14,000 docs, 77% are pessimistic. That says a lot. Over 84% agree that the medical profession is in decline. I'm one of those that agrees with that. The majority would not recommend medicine as a career to their children or other young people. That's what every paper I've read almost has, that same statement. And over 60% of them, so 60% of 14,000, that's a large number, would retire today, right now, if they had the means to do that. And over 26% of them have closed their practice to Medicaid patients. These results indicate high levels of disillusionment among doctors about their medical practice environment and the present state of the healthcare system. Over 50% reached a tipping point and plan to change their practice to decrease patient access. So, let's say about 7,000 docs have reached the point where they plan to change their practices and decrease patient access. That's a lot. Let's go to this next one. This is very kind of a tongue-in-cheek one, but I think it says a lot. This was in the New York Times, I believe. It's referenced too. And I'm just going to kind of read it, or extract some of it. Private health insurance used to be the ticket to a doctor's appointment. Boy, those were the days, a long time ago. But that's no longer the case in some affluent metropolitan enclaves where many physicians no longer accept insurance and require upfront payment from patients, be it cash, checks, or credit cards. Now, you might guess where this is. It's in Manhattan, Upper East Manhattan. It's around Central Park, my guess is. It's not unusual for a pregnant woman in that area to pay $13,000 out of pocket in advance for childbirth and prenatal care to a physician who does not participate in any health plan. And that only is for routine delivery. If it's a complicated one or there's a C-section or something, that's additional cost. Some gynecologists are charging $650 for an annual checkup. And for pediatricians who shun insurance, parents on the Upper East Side are shelling out, $150 to $250 whenever a child falls ill or runs a high fever. I want to show you this cartoon. Hold on, I'm going to click on it right here. Okay, let me just take the screen over here for a second. This is the cartoon. I think it's, you can put your own caption in here, but I think it's pretty typical of at least Upper East Manhattan. Anyway, let's go back to the blog now. Let me just slide the screen down here again. That's the wrong one. That's my bio. There we go. Okay, here we are. Now, I was right here. You might say that this could really only happen in New York. And that might be true, and it may not be true much longer. I wouldn't bet the pharma on that because, one, physicians all over the U.S. are feeling shortchanged, according to Bob Hughes. Dr. Hughes is an otolaryngologist in Saratoga Springs, New York, who is president of the Medical Society of the State of New York. He says physicians are increasingly feeling shortchanged by insurance companies. He says they don't negotiate with docs. It's a take it or leave it contract with the insurance companies. So, next question is, well, will there be a physician shortage? This has been debated through several groups. Dr. Daryl Kirsch, who's president and CEO of the AAMC, authored an article, a pretty good article, in the AAMC Reporter on December 13th, last month. In that article, he writes about the debate between Modern Health magazine and an opinion in the December 2013 New York Times editorial entitled, "There Won't Be a Doctor Shortage," or what doctor shortage, from Modern Health magazine. According to Dr. Kirsch, our country is aging fast. This is some interesting things I hadn't realized. Probably faster than most of us realize. The population of older Americans will double between 2000 and 2030. That's 30 years. That's fast. In fact, he says baby boomers will turn 65 at a rate of 10,000 per day for the next 19 years. According to the Pew Research Center, anyway. This translates into a new Medicare beneficiary every 8 seconds. Every 8 seconds. Dr. Kirsch goes on to say, with this longer life expectancy comes increasing consumption of healthcare services, obviously. Adults reaching age 65, for example, can expect to live almost 20 additional years. So we're looking for 85 years old, according to statistics from the Administration on Aging. And for many individuals with chronic diseases, the extent and complexity of their care only will increase. Let's move it up here. Calling on an ever-growing number of healthcare providers and interventions to bring relief. That fact alone will place added pressure on overall demand for physician services, as well as for other health providers. And what of the physician workforce itself, asked Dr. Kirsch. As the general population ages, so do our physicians. Okay, this is the interesting one. Right now, 16% of doctors are 65 years or older. Interesting. AAMC physician specialty data shows that 1 in 3 practicing physicians expects to retire in the next 15 years. That's 33%. So if we expand the health team, provide care more efficiently, and use technology better, the aging in our population, and the expansion of access to health care through the Affordable Care Act, points to one conclusion: we will still need more physicians to provide the care our nation will need. No doubt about that. That's interesting. So I read this from the New York Times, and I just had to put it into this blog because I think it's so classic, and I've been through something close to this. It's written by Dr. Danielle Ofri, an MD. It's really quite moving, and maybe you have experienced this for yourself. I know I have, not quite to this severity, but almost. She says, has this ever happened to you? Last week I was ready to quit medicine. I was seeing a new patient with diabetes, heart disease, anemia, hypertension, osteopenia, hypothyroidism, reflux, depression, and pain in every part of her body. Here's the part I like, and this has happened to me hundreds of times. From a bag, she produced 18 pill bottles from about as many doctors as that, and piled them onto my desk. She pulled out a form from her job that needed to be filled out, plus a prior approval form that her insurance company required, as well as a stack of photocopied records from other doctors. She didn't speak English, so we waded through her complicated medical history via a telephone interpreter. I've done that too myself. I don't like to write while I'm talking with a patient, but I couldn't afford to fall behind in my documentation. So I typed madly into the 50 required fields of our electronic medical record while the patient recounted her complex medical history. In the middle of this, her computer started giving her problems. And she says, well, it turned a shade of gray, seized up, and required some help. She says the computer seized up, turned gray, a shade that an ICU would elicit the code team. I didn't want to lose the interpreter on the phone, so I fiddled with the Control Alt Delete buttons while I continued the interview, moving on to the refresh buttons, the escape buttons, and finally squatting awkwardly under the desk to yank the on-off switch on the computer. 45 minutes into our 15-minute visit with an interpreter on the telephone in one ear and translating back and forth into Bengali, my office phone in the other ear on hold to tech support, my desk swimming with insurance forms, pill bottles, MRI reports, and mammogram referrals, the computer flashing ominous error messages, plus 6 more patients waiting outside, 8 phone messages from yesterday still to return. I thought, that's it. I quit. Doesn't that sound familiar? Anyway, I'm going to quit myself on this blog with that, and just show you the bottom here where you can find my first 2 videos and blogs. about me. Click on that, and I'm going to have one, maybe two more chapters coming up. And of course, here are all the references down here. So thank you very much for listening. Bye now.